Welcome to Comharra Music's monthly review. So we're going to go through a few tracks today that have been submitted by users, by yourselves, and we're going to go through them in terms of mastering, the tone, the tune, how all the drums sound, how the guitars are sounding. All the genres are different, so you're going to get to hear a multitude of rock, rap, and anything in between. So I'm going to get straight to it. We aren't going to listen to the track in its entirety, but I'll introduce the track and I'll stick it down at the bottom here, and you'll get to hear a little bit of it. I encourage you to go listen to the full thing, and then at the end we'll talk about which track that we want to highlight for the month. So the first track is by Still Captive and it's called We Are the Virus. We were given a link to a music video, which is always great. It's always going to grab a lot more attention if you have video to accompany your music. First of all, the guitar tones are just phenomenal. They're really seated well within the mix. Even though the mix and the song itself is quite simplistic, it is very catchy. The undertones are great, the messaging throughout is great. In terms of the mastering, especially where the drums are concerned, the hats really sit nicely within the mix. The snare isn't too punchy. The toms are really crispy, great sound throughout. And they don't pull away too far from the overall mix. The vocals themselves are leveled extremely well. I never felt that they were jarring or didn't connect or didn't fit within the mix. The doubles, the vocal doubles, and the kind of sub-harmonies are excellent, really great again seated far back enough that they don't pull from the main vocal, but present enough through both ears that they sound really spacious. It's an absolute crime that this is sitting on YouTube at 421 views right now. Premiered on the 1st of January 2022. And it is there for you to go watch, so the link will be in the description of the video, so go and check it out, listen to them. She loves to fight and she wants to show. We are the virus. So next up is Deprime, and the song is called Swallow the Sun. I really love how crunchy the guitar is, and the snare as well. It really comes through the mix. The toms and the kick both sit in a really nice position. The vocal is seated great again in this mix. I never feel that it is too far forward. There are times that maybe it's a little far back, and I would like to hear that come forward just very slightly to really highlight those screams. Because the screams are phenomenal. They're great. Tonally, they're always there. Pitch, they're always there. There's nice distressed vocals throughout. There's harmonies, and I cannot praise you anymore for the parts where you're singing through it. It just sounds excellent. Breakdowns, the drums, the way that everything comes together, the slowing, the pacing is all very good, and it's just an absolute treat to listen to. Everything's done very well. Everything's brought together and mastered and mixed very well. So I definitely like these guys. Personally, this is a band that I would listen to. Why do you lie into my face? You're the time. Why do you broke me? So next up is a song by Project XIII, and it's called Always Never. These hard times ain't so great, and baby, you know it's truly fate. The first thing that came into my mind when I was listening to this track was like James Blunt. Something along those kind of ballady lines. It had that tone. The guitars, I've written down here, the guitars sit really well in each ear for the mix. They're really nice and clear. The vocals, they sit on the low end of the spectrum a little, and because of this, the high end of the vocals, it seems almost like a little muddy. It pulls them down, or they're just not really there. But that's kind of a sound that's characteristic of this genre. I would like to bring those vocals forward again, but I think that's a personal choice. I don't think in terms of industry you need to bring it forward. I think it's seated very well within the mix.
Feel the same again. Now your memories are gone 'cause you destroyed it all.
I definitely would have added on another chorus at the end, something to extend the music throughout. Apart from that, I really like this. This is great. This is a great wee track.
Just for you to come in once again, out of your face. Tell me you were just chilling with your friends at the place, and you like through your teeth just to have to say.
Okay, so next up, we have birthday Trashmouf, Red Spot.
Music doesn't matter. Jaw locking while my neck pops. I'ma drop a Oz and then I'll get lost. I've been off with my meds lost. Blood from my nose when I roll, I smoke red spots.
I've heard some of Trashmouf's music before, and I quite enjoy it. Not because it's funny, it's just because it is very visceral Scottish rap. And their lows throughout are quite quiet. But because our lows are quiet, our highs can come through so easily, and that's where Trashmouth's vocals really shine. The way that he raps and the way that the tone that he has is consistent throughout. It's always really well. At times in the song, it feels like he's got multiple personas that are talking to each other, or it's like we're getting a glimpse into his head, and we can hear the process that he's going through.
Weekly forecast.
That's why all my songs sound the same.
It's always good work from Trashmouf. He always does very well. I love his kind of ping pong vocals that you get in each ear. I really like that. He does very well.
Right when you can't sleep, and it gets a bit shite when you're running out of weed. Everything's too fucking loud and I've been grinding down my teeth. Who gives a fuck about that part, or I can barely even eat. I'm just trying to write the same shit.
So next up is a track by the Supermans, and it's called "The Man Who Saved the World." Straight away, this is really very easy to listen to. It's extremely smooth. It's like American smooth. The riff is a nice up and down, very wavy. Has an extremely classical rock feel to it. I love how the bass is the focal point of this track. And it's such a clean bass. The vocals at first for me seemed a little bit lackluster until I started to get into the track a lot more, and especially when the chorus came in, it gave a great contrast to what I had heard. The chorus is just absolutely divine in terms of the harmonies. They're great.
You're the man, you're the man, you're the man who saved the world. You're the man, you're the man.
They really resonate very well. Both ears, the mix is spaced out so the vocals seem really wide. Vocals, excellent. Guitars, consistent. The guitar riff in the background is really very subtle, but the gated feel to it, it always comes through. Just where there's low points of the vocals and the bass, it sits in between those. Great track, Go and check him out on Spotify.
But I know who you are and the decision you made. As I look at my child, I am no longer afraid.
So next up we have the Guillotines, and this is a song called Enemy. Got down here that the drums are really well placed. I felt that the cymbals in this sort of genre can be overly splashy, whereas here I never felt that they were ringing out. They've been seated at a good point. The brass rips throughout the song are great, are really done well. They don't peak too high, and they come through the mids enough that it doesn't push everything else back in the mid, because you can find marrying brass up with guitars can be pretty difficult that way. But brass can push your guitars out, so technically it's done very well. The vocals can be a little bit hard. For me, they can be a little bit repetitive, but again, that is something that is down to the nature of the genre. Overall, straightforward message, mastered well. You can easily tap your foot along to all day, and everything's all on tempo, everything's all on pitch and tone. So again, a really solid track. Well done, guys. Next up is a track by Sweet Rogue, and it's called Gone Now.
I want my youth back, I know it's gone now. Why am I always up to the crack of dawn now? I mean, living all the good times, but
So it has this really big low end intro, and that goes into something that was very reminiscent of Kanye West's Touch the Sky. It has that same vibe. Everything's really clear. The sub bass is phenomenal in this, especially via headset. The snare has that slight retro feel. It's almost like a little bit of noise, but again it hits the point that's right for the composition.
I'm blind. I'm glad that bubble popped so I can pick back up my pain. Kid, don't cry. I remember feeling sad for the first time. I could never see my future, there was no sign. Bro, I've been in pain my whole life. The guys took away my whole life. How could you hurt a kid, you fucking low life?
The vocal track is... It seems like single track. I would probably want a little more harmonies, or for her to be her own kind of like hype man. It's there, I can hear it in the background, but it's almost too similar. It sits in the same place as the main vocal. It should sit somewhere right or somewhere left, or both, so that you can define that it's two separate vocal tracks.
We have a bond now. I want my youth back, I know
So
it's gone now.
push your vocal harmonies up a little bit more, your height.
I mean, living all the good times, but they're gone now. I'm reminiscing on the streets that I walked down. Different plans, different roads, different crossroads, different paths.
I love the fact that you managed to put a Trainspotting reference in this. Great track. Really feels upbeat, yet feels still angry. A little bit of distress, modern, and a little bit of retro, mixing the two of them together. Go contact Slippery Trashmouf. I want to hear a track where the two of you are both featured on it. I want to see something happen there.
Stuff just know when to say it's a truth, eh? So don't let the pain seep inside, brew and fester. Your life's a fucking joke, but it's a king and you're the jester. Your hate entertaining show is all you cope with pressure. See, drugs are an escape, but that's a few minutes worth of pleasure.
So next up we have Toastie, Walk On By. The song has a great classic electric guitar tone. It's quite a standard composition, but it gets into this nice build up where the guitar goes really crispy, and the toms along with the kick build us up to a point. When we get to the chorus, the bass leads that entire composition really well. I absolutely love the little fills, the guitar fills at the end of each bar. Drums are mastered really really very nicely. Tones of the drums are great. I like that they sit a little bit proud in the mix. It feels a lot more powerful. It's like on purpose. The vocals and the harmonies are really good. I love that it's got this gritty yet smooth feel to it. Easy to listen to, and then it plays us out that really nice guitar tone, and the final chord striking is really good. Toastie's done a really good job. Check him out on Spotify.
It can be found if you try. Look inside, you have to navigate.
So next up is a song called The Debt, and it's by Savage Cut.
Oh, if the world is right.
I really like the hook that we get from the drum track at the start. When the bass comes in, it's really nice and deep, it's nice and punchy. The vocals start off a little bit shaky, but overall, track progression is really good. The guitar flanger was a little bit powerful for me, whereas in the second verse, it's not there, it's not present, and it sounds a lot better. I understand there's more going on then, and it fills the mix a little bit more, but it seemed a little bit powerful for the first verse. It's okay to use it, but I would say tone it back a little.
As I walk away, my sins they...
Overall, the mix seems quite tight. It doesn't seem too spread out. The vocals, because of that, they sit like dead center, and they don't seem to have space on either side. At times you have the harmonies. With the harmonies are great, and it pushes that vocal out, it spaces it out a bit more. In terms of your tone, the vocal tone, I've got down here, it's like a Rob Zombie light. I like the breakdowns, the drum rhythms change up. Like when I heard those little talking bits, that obviously you're Scottish, but you sing nothing like a Scottish person. But it was such a contrast that I would have immediately thought your native language would have been American English. The solo at the end is really, really nice and crisp, and it takes us back into the chorus at the end, which is great.
No life left to be back. Time to come in the debt. Come in the debt. As I walk.
So last on the list today is a song by SubKonsious, and it's called Blessings.
People like to write me off, it's okay, never born truth, never gonna stop, see the light and I punch through, lost in the time, it's my mind I succumb to, try to fill this hole from a dumb youth, I still keep faith in the lane, sweat breaks off the face of the street.
So I felt at the start, the guitar was a little bit basic sounding, there was nothing different or unique, it was very safe, and then when the vocals come in, that seems to contrast and totally smash that. The vocals are the focal here. Purely those vocals are really, really good. They're very crisp, really clean. The synth bass can seem a little bit weak at points, and you drop the bass off at points, allowing again the vocals to take precedent. And every single time it's done really, really well, done really effectively. Lyric wise, really, really deep meanings. Very meaning in terms of what you do day by day. And I actually found at one point it seemed as if you were looking for a secondary vocalist for this track, because the pace turns a little bit different. So I would probably say that the beat and the riff seem a little bit generic, but the vocals, the pacing, the tone is where all of the spice of the track really comes from. In terms of the video is shot very well. The quality is great. Colours are excellent. When you have the nice warm yellows with your actors, I felt that stuff was the stronger. It's brilliant. It's great to see music accompanied with a well-produced music video.
I'm only gonna focus on the music I create. I'm awake, big decisions in my life I need to face. Try to straighten narrow tunnel vision till I'm made. Success is not defined by all the money that you make. There's never any money when we're taken to the grave. Living 7 days, every day just feels the same. At times I wonder if it's worth it. Try to keep up the charade I made a promise to my brother.
So that is SubKonsious, Blessings. Overall, there are really strong contenders for this month's feature, but I feel out of all of the tracks, the one that sits the most well with me in terms of the mix, the master, the tone, the vocals, everything fitting together, the pacing, the length, the BPM, all of these things, it goes to the Supermoons, the man who saved the world. This track just really gave me great feelings from the get-go.
You're the man, you're the man, you're the man who saved the world. You're the man who saved the world.
When the chord progression changes and it starts to move into the chorus is where the track really shines. The stuff that you're producing is so tight in terms of its composition and its direction. It knows exactly where it's heading and where it wants to go. It's something that you could sit down with friends, family, and you could all sing along to very easily. It doesn't stress the voice at any points. It doesn't go out its way to be overly complex or difficult. So that's why you guys, the Supermoons, deserve this month's feature.
So highly. You're the man, you're the man, you're the man who saved the world. You're the man.
To everyone else who entered this month's review, thank you for taking part. Thank you for getting your tracks out there and letting us have a crack at deconstructing it and letting you know what we think about it. Keep on producing music, keep doing what you're doing. If you hear something on this list that you think, hey, I really like that artist, and you want to collaborate with them, go ahead and do that. Get in touch with them, because all of these artists are up for communicating and marketing themselves, which is the main point of this right now. Sell yourself. Thanks so much for taking part. Thanks so much for watching. And it's a goodbye from Comharra Music. Check us out at comharra.com/music, and you'll find all the information that you need there.